Before we get into today's edition of Just the Truth, Mike Lindell sent me a note yesterday. He has a special for the 6-piece towel set, $25 when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. You'll get the $25 offer on the 6-piece towel set, and I promise you, these will be the most comfortable, the most absorbent towels that you own. mypillow.com, use promo code Joey. Get the 6-piece towel set for just $25. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. Newly emerged footage shows then Senator Kamala Harris chanting down with deportation. This was at a parade in Los Angeles in 2018 when she was pursuing more aggressively, more openly left-wing positions on immigration. Will the real Kamala Harris please stand up? Former Attorney General William Barr says he is dumbfounded that the Justice Department released a chilling letter by would-be assassin Ryan Wesley Routh on Monday, calling the decision rash and serving no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. We have the details of that letter. Pop singer Janet Jackson says, hold on, she did not issue an apology to Vice President Kamala Harris about comments on her skin color. A key national law enforcement group makes its endorsements in 2024 presidential race. We'll tell you who they're supporting. With the closing of its last full-size retail store, this once retail giant marks the end of a retail era that we will never see again. We have all the details later in the show. And South Carolina Representative John McCravey joins us. He'll give us an update on a case that involves a lady serving a 15-year sentence for stabbing her then-boyfriend to death. Last year, the parole board, in a 3-2 vote, agreed that she should be released, but because of a technicality, she has been held and served another year. She has another opportunity this week as the parole board once again hears her case.
I told you we'd be back.
And ye shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free.
It's Joey Hudson.
I wanted to name it the Joey Hudson bill, but, they don't allow you to put names on bills. But I wanted to call it the Joey Hudson bill because I know that one's been near and dear to you for a number of years.
That's how it's done. Let your voice be heard.
And the truth shall set you free.
Here's Joey Hudson.
Some new footage shows then Senator Kamala Harris chanting down with deportation. This was at a Los Angeles parade in 2018 when she was very proudly, aggressively pursuing left-wing positions on immigration. The video obtained by Fox News Digital took place at the annual Kingdom Day parade where she was Grand Marshal. In the clip, she can be seen joining in with a chant of up with education, down with deportation, as she chants along while also applauding and smiling.
Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation. Up with education, down with deportation.
You get the idea there. The video was first reported by the Daily Mail online, which also noted that in the video, get this, actor Jussie Smollett, who would eventually be convicted of falsely claiming to have been attacked by Trump supporters in Chicago. Now, this video, and you can find it, I've shared it on my social sites. It shows this woman, Kamala Harris, proudly strutting around as Grand Marshal of this parade, chanting down with deportation. But yet now she wants us to believe that she now understands that we must have a border and that, yes, we need to be a little stronger on protecting that border. Now, the whole thing with Jussie Smollett in the video with her, you remember she came to Smollett's defense shortly after he falsely claimed that he was attacked by Trump supporters. She said in a post on X at the time, this was an attempted modern-day lynching. No one should have to fear for their life because of their sexuality or color of their skin. Well, he didn't have to. As it turned out, he made the whole story up. She never changed her position. She never came back to say, well, maybe I was wrong. In fact, when a reporter surprisingly asked her about that, she kind of stumbled to answer, and you could see her looking around the room as if she was looking for someone to remove the reporter from the room so she wouldn't have to answer. She finally kind of stuttered an answer. Here's her response.
Which tweet? What tweet?
About saying that it is a modern day lynching that.
Sorry.
Yes, Jesse Smollett.
Okay, so I will say this about that case. I think that the facts are still unfolding, and I'm very concerned about, obviously.
She didn't have an answer. She didn't have a defense. And she certainly wasn't going to say, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe I rushed to his defense when I should not have. Again, this was that period of time. She was fairly new in the U.S. Senate. She had adopted these left-wing proposals headed into her 2019 presidential primary campaign, of which she never received a single vote. She promised to expand the deferred action for childhood arrival by executive order, which gives protection to illegal immigrants brought to the U.S. as minors. She said that she would eliminate age requirements on applications and use parole authority to create a parole-in-place program to put those illegal immigrants on a path to citizenship. I mean, she believes that these millions of people who have come into our country illegally should be given a path to citizenship. She just doesn't want to admit that now because she knows that as soon as people find out her true position, her true beliefs. Now, remember, she has flip-flopped on a number of issues, but she's very quick to tell you that her values have not changed. So if her values have not changed, why has her position on so many of these policies changed? Since becoming the nominee after the Democrat Party kicked Joe Biden to the curb, she's faced scrutiny over her role overseeing the root causes of the migrant crisis at the southern border, which, of course, earned her title as the border czar. She's also shifted her position on a number of other issues. Her campaign confirmed to Fox early this month that she'd changed her position on a number of immigration and border security policies, including decriminalizing illegal crossings and closing immigration detention centers. A Harris campaign advisor told Fox that her positions have been, quote, shaped by 3 years of effective governance as part of the Biden-Harris administration. Well, we all know that's a lie because they haven't had 3 years of effective governance. The campaign says now that she is continuing to ensure sufficient resources to enforce our laws and prioritize detention and removal for individuals who pose threats to public safety and national security, as well as ensure compliance with immigration proceedings and decisions, including removal. Yet she's walking up and down chanting, not too many years ago, down with deportation. Again, with the real Kamala Harris, please stand up. She's repeatedly backed the bipartisan Senate package that emerged from negotiations back in the chamber early this year, which increases funding for the border, including ICE bed space, a mechanism to limit asylum entries into the U.S. Spokesperson Mia Ehrenberg said in a statement just last month, while Donald Trump is wedded to the extreme ideas in his Project 2025 agenda, Vice President Harris believes real leadership means bringing all sides together to build consensus. It is that approach that made it possible for the Biden-Harris administration to achieve bipartisan breakthroughs on everything from infrastructure to gun violence prevention. As president, she will take that same pragmatic approach, focusing on common sense solutions for the sake of progress. Yeah, sure. Meanwhile, as we take a closer look at her campaign and her campaign staff, some new insights are emerging about internal tensions and the media strategy. According to Axios reporter Alex Thompson, who suggests that there could be, quote, subtle finger pointing within Harris's campaign if polling numbers worsen. The campaign team is a mix of Biden staffers, Harris's own people, and Obama 2012 operatives, which could create some trust issues. While Harris has seen improvements in some national polls, recent swing state polling, for example, the polling released yesterday from the New York Times Siena College shows that former President Trump is leading in key states like Georgia, North Carolina, and Arizona. She can't win without those states. The Harris campaign has conducted few interviews since securing the nomination. Campaign spokesperson Brian Fallon argues that this shouldn't be overanalyzed, stating that it's not indicative of their overall media strategy. Despite being the incumbent vice president, the campaign is positioning Harris as an underdog. This approach appears to be a deliberate tactic to manage expectations of her performance. Fallon indicates that Harris's media engagement is likely to increase in the final 50 days before the election, potentially mirroring her more active media presence as vice president earlier this year. The Harris campaign, of course, is navigating the political landscape. They're apparently trying to balance internal dynamics to determine their external messaging, but it doesn't appear that things are as they should be within her campaign. And the Axis reporter is saying that if polls do not improve and as the pressure increases, things are going to get tough among the Harris campaign staffers that could even lead to people leaving the campaign before November the 5th. PhD Weight Loss wants you to know, yes, you can. You can get back to your ideal healthy weight. Yes, you can get back into sizes you thought you'd never see again. And yes, you can get rid of that harmful belly fat, all without becoming dependent on medication loaded with side effects. Hi, it's Joey Hudson here. PhD Weight Loss encourages and equips you to lose weight the healthy, natural way and keep it all for the rest of your life. Dr. Ashley Lucas, a licensed registered nutritionist, developed a solid plan that works. Trust me, I lost 30 pounds. You see, PhD Weight Loss removes the guesswork. They literally tell you exactly what to eat each day while you watch the pounds melt away. But they also teach you to think about food differently and to learn to anticipate and navigate situations that make you want to indulge. PhD coaches will teach you to believe finally that yes, you can do it. With no gimmicks or lifelong medications, finally lose the weight and keep it off. Yes, you can. Call today. PhD Weight Loss, 864-644-1900. That's 864-644-1900. Or go to myphdweightloss.com. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Emails always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. By the way, the controversy that erupted involving pop icon Janet Jackson and her comments about Vice President Kamala Harris's racial identity, supposedly Janet Jackson questioned if, in fact, Kamala Harris is black. You know, Donald Trump was chastised recently when he brought that up, pointing out the fact that she in the past has said that she is Indian, that she's proud of her Indian culture. Well, Janet Jackson evidently questioned whether or not Kamala Harris is really black. This was in a recent interview in The Guardian. An unauthorized, as we have since found out, apology was issued by a man named Mo El-Masri, who falsely claimed to be Jackson's former manager. Jackson's actual representatives have confirmed that Mr. El-Masri has never been affiliated with the singer and that the apology was unauthorized, that Janet Jackson did not apologize for this. Jackson's team clarified that her brother, Randy Jackson, has long been her manager. The incident, of course, has sparked discussions about racial identity, the spread of misinformation, according to the some in the media. As the story continues to develop, we will bring you any updates, but it appears that Janet Jackson did not apologize. And the fact that she has taken issue with this, I would assume, means that she stands by her statement or by her question of, is Kamala Harris really black? On the text line, Albert writes, the person in the DOJ who made the decision to release the Routh letter offering a reward for the assassination of President Trump should be immediately removed from service and arrested for conspiracy to commit murder. This is a shameful action by the DOJ. Albert, you're not the only one. Former Attorney General Bill Barr seems to agree. As the Attorney General says, he is dumbfounded that the Justice Department released a letter penned by the would-be assassin, Ryan Wesley We saw a copy of this yesterday, calling the decision, Bill Barr calls the decision rash and serving no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. Routh is the suspect, of course, of the second foiled assassination attempt as he was hiding in the bushes near Trump International Golf Course just over a week ago. The DOJ obtained the letter from a witness who says they received it inside a box delivered to them by Routh several months prior to the assassination attempt. My question is, why are they just now turning it over? According to the report, the box contains several handwritten letters as well as ammunition, among other things. One of the letters, addressed Dear World, admitted to an assassination attempt on Trump. He also offered money to anyone willing to finish the job. Barr said in a statement, I was dumbfounded that the DOJ made public this morning the contents of the letter that Ryan Wesley left with an acquaintance prior to the attempted assassination of former President Trump. The letter calls on people to finish the job of killing President Trump, attempts to rouse people in terms of to do so, and offers $150,000 to anyone who succeeds. There was no apparent justification for releasing this information at this stage, Bill Barr said. Barr, who served during both Trump and the George H.W. Bush administration, says that the DOJ had more than enough evidence to have Routh detained pending trial without publicizing these details. He said even if DOJ thought it important to provide the letter to the court, it could have redacted inflammatory material or arranged to have the letter submitted under seal. It was rash to put out this letter in the midst of an election during which 2 attempts on the life of President Trump had been made. Now, remember, Bill Barr is no big fan of Donald Trump. In fact, I would say they're not even, probably not even on speaking terms at this point. But Barr is quick to say this was just wrong. He said it served no purpose other than to risk inciting further violence. And he's right. I mean, when you put a letter out saying what this said, that basically, now there's so many questions about this. First off, again, why is the letter just now becoming public or at least being acknowledged if he gave this to this person a couple of months ago, which is what the reports say? Did the person just not open the box? Did he not know he or she not know what the letter said? Or after this, did they maybe just think, well, he left the box with me, maybe I should look in it? I don't know. But if they had it and they had knowledge of this letter before, then why weren't they reporting this? Now, the other thing is, why is the guy writing a letter? I guess he's assuming that he's going to fail at the assassination attempt if he's saying, or if he's calling on people to finish the job. I wonder where the 150 grand would come from, because there's no indication he is a wealthy man. In fact, if you looked at photos of his home in Hawaii and the fact that he owns a small construction company there, it doesn't appear that he has a lot of resources to begin with. So I'm not sure he has the 150 grand to offer as a reward. But why report it now? Why would you not have been reporting this before? I'm just going to have to assume they didn't know the contents of the letter. The department's detention memo revealed that Routh traveled from Greensboro, North Carolina to West Palm Beach on August 14th, a month before the September 15th golf course incident. One of Routh's cell phones pinged cell towers near Trump's golf course and his Mar-a-Lago residence on multiple days and different times on August 18th to September 15th. Investigators say that they also found a book Routh had authored in 2023 titled Ukraine's Unwinnable War, The Fatal Flaw of Democracy, World Abandonment, and the Global Citizen, Taiwan, Afghanistan, North Korea, World War II, and the End of Humanity. That's a long title for a book. The detention memo also provided a fresh detail on the witness who saw Routh flee the sniper's nest. The witness made eye contact with the suspect before Routh jumped into a Nissan Xterra and sped away. The witness is credited, of course, with photographing the vehicle and reporting it to law enforcement. The Justice Department did not immediately respond to questions from the media. Routh will likely face additional charges in the coming days, which could include aggravated assault for allegedly pointing the rifle at a Secret Service agent and making threats against a former president, State Attorney Dave Ehrenberg previously told Fox News. Again, Bill Barr has not been a big supporter, big fan of Donald Trump, but I think he has this one right. You agree that the DOJ should not have released this letter, the contents of this letter? I mean, some idiot out there may hear it and think, well, there really is a $150,000 reward out there for someone to assassinate the president. I agree with Bill Barr this time. Your comments are welcome on the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY. That's 864-477-5639. Email's always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Whether you're replacing a broken appliance or maybe you're just upgrading, you're totally remodeling the kitchen, when it's time to get those new appliances, when you're ready for them, you don't want to have to wait weeks or even months to get started using them, right? Well, that's not the case when you shop with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse. With over 11,000 square feet and 1,500 appliances at any given time, you can buy today and use today quite often. I'm talking about shopping with my friends at Discounted Appliance Warehouse in Pickens. It's worth the short drive over to Pickens. Jeff, Johnny, Kyle, the whole team over there, they'll take good care of you. They have an award-winning service department, expert installation, extended warranties, and at Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they treat you like family. You're more than just a credit card swipe to all the team over there. Discounted Appliance Warehouse, they're proud to offer Speed Queen, the only washer and dryers with manufacturer's warranties that cover parts and labor. You owe it to yourself, if you're looking for a new appliance, to head over to Pickens to Discounted Appliance Warehouse online at dawpickens.com, dawpickens.com. The headline in the New York Daily News last September read like this: South Carolina mother of 5 who fatally stabbed her abuser denied parole again despite a majority vote. The story read, parole has been denied a second time for a South Carolina mother of 5 serving time for fatally stabbing her abuser despite a 3-2 majority vote in her favor. 36-year-old Tiffany Carroll is currently serving a 15-year prison sentence for the 2017 killer of her then-boyfriend, who a judge determined had been physically abusive throughout their relationship. Authorities reportedly responded to their house 8 times between May of 2016 and the fatal stabbing. The state parole board voted to approve her release last fall, but did not obtain the 2/3 majority necessary to secure Ms. Carroll's freedom, as certain violent crimes carry a higher threshold for release. One parole member abstained from voting, while another was absent from the hearing, according to the New York Daily News. Meanwhile, her 5 children are trying to survive without their mom. On our guest line, South Carolina Representative John McCravy. Welcome. How are you, sir?
I'm doing good, Joey.
Let's talk for a minute, and I'd like for you to give us a quick summary of where this case is, how you became involved, and I understand that she's going to get another chance this week.
Joey, this is a horrific miscarriage of justice that this lady is in jail. She was abused to the point where one witness said that they witnessed her boyfriend stomping her in the front yard while she had a baby in her arms.
Wow.
And it took the neighbors to pull him off of her. The police went to her house 8 times, and this guy had abused other women before this. And when she finally fought back, and he suffered a fatal cut because he was a hemophiliac, and he bled to death. But nevertheless, she finally fought back, and instead of helping her cope through this, she ended up in jail. And I don't know how that happened, but I became involved with it last year. I didn't even know about this case, to be honest with you, Joey. I became involved with it about 1.5 years ago, and one of my constituents, her name is Mary Ann Wingard. She was a school teacher all her life, retired, great lady. I mean, solid Christian woman. She called me up, and when Mary Ann Wingard calls me about something, I listen. And so I found out about this, and it was just, the more I looked into it, the worse it got. And I just could not believe that this lady was sitting in jail. So that's how I became involved.
Yep. So let's talk about how the parole board issued a decision, and let's go back to last fall, because as I understand it, you get one shot at this per year. Is that correct? That's
correct, Joey. And the solicitor last year and this year again, wrote a letter saying she's not a danger to the public in his opinion. She needs to be out. The solicitors don't normally do that.
Yeah.
The chief of police had written something previously, a kind of a boilerplate letter, we would call it, but he wrote on the same day of the hearing last year, he wrote a letter saying, in his opinion, she was not a danger to the public and should be released. And he did that again this year. So we have a strong case. I don't think anybody's appeared to try to keep her in jail that wants her in jail. Everybody that knows her knows she's a sweet lady, a Christian lady who has just gotten some bad circumstances. And we've got everything waiting on her. The biggest thing in the parole hearing is, are they a danger to the public? Well, the answer is no. And as a matter of fact, we even had a psychologist named Vereen who has submitted an opinion that she had battered women syndrome.
Yeah.
So, that's what happened, but that's history now. And the biggest thing is she a danger to the public now? The answer is no. Nobody's saying she is. Does she have a place to go? Yes, we've got a place for her to stay. I think she's staying at some in-laws' house. They're ready for her. Does she have a job? She's got 2 job offers already. Does she have transportation? I've got a car out back I'll give her if she gets out. So we're going to take care of this lady. The whole community wants to take care of her. The lady who runs Meg's house, she wants to take care of her and help her out. The House for Abused Women in Greenwood. So that the whole community wants her to come back and be reunited with her 5 children. And that's where we are.
Yep. On our guest line today, Representative John McCravy. On the surface and just reading about this and multiple stories, I referenced the New York Daily News. This case has received some national coverage, a lot of local coverage too. But on the surface, it looks to me like they knew that they wanted to release her last year, but because of a technicality, really, they needed 2/3. One member wasn't there. One member abstained from voting for some reason. So she's had to wait a full year to even get another hearing. That just doesn't sound right to me.
Well, it's a shame. And I just hope that whoever hears this year will look at all the evidence. This guy had a prior record of doing this for many, many years. Look at all the criteria that they go by to determine whether somebody should be released on parole. She's not a danger to anybody. See whether she's got support when she gets out, and it's all here. And the last thing is, another rare thing is the judge in this case, they are ethically prohibited from making the first move and calling the parole board. However, they will talk with the parole board if the parole board takes the initiative to call.
Mm-hmm.
And so last year, even though I told the parole board that she wants you to call them, and I even gave them her cell phone, they did not do it. Well, this year, the sentencing judge wrote the parole board a letter and said, I can talk to you if you call me. And she gave them her phone number.
Yeah.
So I hope they've done their homework. I hope they've called Justice Burden, who is now on the Supreme Court, and have asked her what her opinion is. She put in the order that she was eligible for early release, and I think there was a reason for that.
Yeah.
So she recognized in that order that this was an extenuating case.
So there's no indication right now as to whether or not they've had that conversation. The hearing is tomorrow on Wednesday, correct?
It's Wednesday morning, yes, sir. I'm thinking it's the morning. They still haven't given us a time.
Yeah. So there's no indication as to whether or not they have spoken with the judge yet.
I have no way to find that out.
Yeah. With us today, Representative John McCravy, talking about the case of Tiffany Carroll, the mother of 5 who was sentenced to 15 years after killing her boyfriend who had been abusing her. She was determined to be guilty of manslaughter. She came up for parole last fall. The parole board, in a 3-2 majority, voted in her favor, but they needed 4 votes. And she has served another year of that 15-year sentence. So, Representative McCravy, just talk with us about the process in general. They have a hearing that comes up every year. Is that correct?
I believe so, Joey. I'm not an expert in this area, but obviously I don't do criminal law, but I do know that they do have automatic hearings when they come up. She came up early because the judge made her eligible for early parole. But, the parole board has a difficult decision. I mean, I understand that. They have a difficult job. They have a lot of violent people who don't need to be out on the street that come in front of them every day. And so it's very rare, actually, that people get out on parole in South Carolina. But this is one of those rare cases where I think they really need to look at it. And we've been trying to raise awareness in the hopes that they will look at it and take it seriously.
Well, and that's the reason the system is set up as it is because there are always exceptions to the rule. And it seems to me that this is one of those situations. It appears that in the previous hearing last year that no one was able to speak on her behalf. That's going to be different this year. Does that really have an influence on the parole board to hear these positive comments, to hear people within the community saying, we're going to take care of her this time?
I hope it does. I really do have that hope. And so we'll be there and we'll do the best we can. And I know that her attorney is a good man, Travis Moore. He's going to do a really good job for her.
Yep. Well, Representative John McCravy, I applaud you because I know you're doing this because you recognize a person who needs another chance. And your faith tells you that people get second chances. By the grace of God, we're all here. We all make mistakes every day. So I applaud you for that and all of those in the community who have really taken this on and wanting to see this lady be released so she can be with her 5 children and become a productive citizen again. So I applaud you for that. And I look forward to an update and hearing how things come out in the hearing tomorrow.
Well, thank you, Joey. And we're just looking forward to it with anticipation, hoping and praying that she will be able to be reunited with her kids and her community.
Yep. John McCravy, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Joey.
Sure. Hope you'll join the conversation today. 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Send your comments to the Furman Ford text line. You can leave a quick voice message, and your emails are always welcome, joey@joeyhudson.com. Speaking of the Furman Ford text line, it's never been more important to support locally run businesses owned by people who actually live here in the upstate. Let me take a minute to talk with you about our friends at Furman Ford. If you're looking for a new vehicle, maybe a great pre-owned vehicle, one you can trust, or maybe you're looking to order that special vehicle. Either way, if you want a new one, a brand new one, or a pre-owned that you can trust, the folks at Furman Ford, they're there to help you. Their name is on the sign because their name is on the line, because every single transaction is important to them. Jim Furman, Matthew Furman. They do business the right way. When you stop by, when you give them a call, or maybe when you just send them a quick email, you're always going to have access to a member of the Furman Ford family. And by the way, they also offer great service, and you're not going to have to wait weeks and weeks to get it done. And you do not have had to purchase your vehicle at Furman Ford. Doesn't even have to be a Ford. They service all makes and models. Visit my friends at Furman Ford online at furmanford.com, furmanford.com. On the text line, Ray writes, good morning, Joey. I see that Lady Graham is making the rounds cheerleading for war again. He must be looking for a big handout from the military complex for his 2026 campaign. I know everyone is thinking about the 2024 election. However, we also need to find a candidate to take his seat in 26. It will be nice to have a senator in his place that is not an embarrassment to South Carolina. Faye writes, good morning, Joey. Just wanted to say I've convinced 2 friends they must vote for Trump. Still have a few more to go. For the life of me, I can't imagine why anybody would want to vote for karma unless you're an illegal who has been given a card with $15,000 on it. Faye, you're on to it. You're exactly right. This is what we need to be doing every single day, folks, is recruiting people to vote for Donald Trump. If you have a friend who you think's not quite sure of who they're going to vote for, it's your duty. And do just as Faye has done, convince them, lay all the information out to them. Look, if you're not quite sure what to tell them, point them to my radio show or my podcast. Ask them to subscribe to my podcast. Just search for Joey Hudson, Just the Truth, wherever they listen to podcasts, or go to my website, joeyhudson.com, click on subscribe, and there's lots of information available on why they should be voting for Donald Trump. We talk about it every day. But Faye is right here. That's what we have to do. We have to be ambassadors for Trump, convincing people who are on the borderline of why we cannot allow Kamala Harris to be president. Tony writes, Joey, unless it's with Fox, I wouldn't do another debate. Trump has already done a debate with their rules. No point doing another one on a communist news channel. This is in reference to, of course, CNN inviting both candidates to a debate on October 28th. Harris has enthusiastically accepted. Donald Trump has said, nah, not interested. I asked the question, what if Fox were to extend their invitation again? Should Donald Trump say, okay, I'll debate you on CNN if you'll debate me on Fox? What do you think? Still love to get your ideas. You can text me. You can email me, joey@joeyhudson.com. Texter says, why was Jill Biden conducting that meeting? She wasn't elected to do anything. No, she wasn't. Jill Biden is strangely one of the most powerful people in the world right now. She shouldn't be, but the truth is she is. We've often asked the question in the preceding weeks, who's running the country? Jill Biden's running the country. And the fact that she was in that cabinet meeting last Friday, pretty much leading the meeting, because we all know that Joe Biden's not capable of leading the meeting. Did you saw him in the press conference with the prime minister from India? He didn't know what to do. He got confused. He's saying, who's next? He thought he was at a news conference, and he was asking which reporter's next when he was supposed to be introducing his guest. Jill Biden is running this country, sadly. Texter says, what level of security clearance does Jill Biden have? I don't know that she even has security clearance. Does the First Lady have security clearance? Good question. I'm going to have to dig in on that one, do a little research. Texter says, Joey, what did you say around 525 yesterday about paying taxes on our already owned home if Kamala is elected? Thanks. Well, she wants to change our capital gains to where you pay for unrealized capital gains. She wants to tax you on unrealized capital gains, which means that if you have an asset like a home and its value has increased, typically when you sell that home, if you sell it in your lifetime, you pay the taxes on that capital gain. She wants you to have to pay it before you sell it. Now, I have no idea how she thinks she can accomplish that and at what point. I mean, you got to pay it every year? But that's something we can expect. And look, the fact that the IRS agents in their union endorsed her, and they did, if you missed that the other day, they endorsed her. They want her to be president because they know what she'll do for them. She'll turn them loose on us. Texter, good morning, Joey. I'm 100% in agreement with you. Trump should agree to the debate under the condition that Harris will agree to one on Fox. Trump should also taunt Harris and use it publicly. Also, they should also agree to have no jewelry worn. Oh, yeah. Don't want those earrings on her again, do we? Just in case. Roger says, Joe, if we lose this time, there won't be another election in 4 years. Roger, we got to win it, so we don't even have to think about that. Texter, good morning, Joey. This is Steve in Greenville. I wouldn't go as far to say Biden beat Trump, and we all know he didn't he didn't that the election was rigged. Texter, Joey, I'm 55 and had to change jobs for more money. Oh, Biden has broke me. Thanks, Brandon. Yeah. Hey, look, Joe Biden has hurt many of us, and that's why we're going to win in November, because even people who traditionally may not vote Republican, they can't think of what their world may be with another 4 years of Biden administration policy, another 4 years of increased taxation, of high inflation. Texter says, Mr. Hudson, thank you for your program and conservative values. If Kamala Harrison told the truth, no one would vote for her. Thank you, John. Well, John, you're right. She's not going to tell the truth, though. She's going to make it up as she goes. She's going to try to convince everybody that those extreme values that she had, like the video I talked to you about earlier in the show today, where she was literally parading up and down the street in Los Angeles, saying down with deportation. She hadn't changed her position. She will never support deportation of illegal aliens. She'll never do it. Texter says, I always thought it was silly for Democrats to expect Muslims to vote for a woman. Interesting. You think that's why the Muslim mayor endorsed Donald Trump? Maybe. Texter, something else to note. The big charity dinner in New York in October that traditionally both candidates attended, Trump is attending. Kamala has stated she will not. Last time a candidate did not attend was in 1984 when Jimmy Carter's vice president, who was running for president, didn't attend and failed miserably again. Texter, hey Joey, it's Jennifer. I think the debate deal that Trump should make with Kamala is, yes, I'll do CNN if you'll do Fox. And maybe he should insist that the Fox debate be first, just so she won't back out on him, like she might do if the CNN debate is. She'll never agree to a Fox debate. And I think she probably realizes that Donald Trump will never agree to a CNN debate or another one. And that's the only reason that she and CNN have gotten together to call for another debate, because they know he won't. And she's going to try to harp on that. Well, he's afraid of me. He won't debate me. Why won't he debate me? What's he hiding from me? That's going to be her tactic. Get ready. That's all we're going to hear about. Wow. Your texts are welcome, as are your emails, joey@joeyhudson.com. I love your emails. I read every one. I respond to most of them. I try to respond to every one, but joey@joeyhudson.com. A somewhat sad story, a story that marks the end of an era in America. We bring you the news about the closure of the last full-size Kmart in the continental United States. It's located in Bridgehampton, New York. It's set to close October 20th. The store has been a fixture in the community for 25 plus years. Following this closure, only one downsized Kmart will remain in the U.S. That's situated in Miami, Florida. This store has been reduced to what was formerly just its garden department. Now think about that. You go from that large store to just the garden department. Company has faced, of course, significant financial challenges, filing for bankruptcy in 2002 and again in 2018 after it merged with Sears. In its peak in the 1990s, Kmart operated approximately 2,300 locations. Joining us on our guest line this morning, Drew McKissick, chairman of the South Carolina Republican Party. Good morning, sir.
Sure, I hope you're having a good one.
So far, so good. Let's keep it that way. So breaking news this morning. Around 7:30, the New York Times released their latest poll. According to their poll, Trump is leading Harris in Arizona by 5 points, 50 to 45%. He holds a similar lead, 49 to 45% in Georgia. Harris is a little bit closer to President Trump in North Carolina, where the race sits at 49 to 47, according to their poll. Now, help us break this down. It's a roller coaster ride when it comes to these polls. Should we just stop reading the news and just wait till November 5th to get here?
Well, that would be bad for the pundit and talk radio business.
Well,
to be sure.
True.
But no, I mean, look, it's as we all know, presidential campaign is not a national election. It is a series of state-by-state elections, and that's why, more so than the national horse race numbers, these state numbers are what really matters. If you look at national poll numbers, typically speaking, if a Republican, and in this case, I would say especially Donald Trump, just based on history, is within, 2 to 3 points of a Democrat in a national poll, in a national horse race, there's a pretty good chance still that the Republican would win the Electoral College. And that gets us back to these state polls. So, being up in, out west in the Sun Belt states is very important. As we've talked about before, if Trump just wins or keeps what he won state by state in the last presidential race, and then we bring Georgia back across, and he were to pick up Pennsylvania, that's a win. That's 270 votes. Now, there are other ways to get to 270. That's probably the easiest way. Now, outside of that, still needs to pick Georgia back up. Obviously, keeping North Carolina is critical. And if you add Arizona and Nevada and that one extra electoral vote in Nebraska, I think that is actually a tie, 269, which a tie wins for Republicans, by the way, because the House of Representatives then elects a president with 1 vote per state in the House. And by the way, Nebraska, this week, their legislature is moving towards changing their allotment of electoral votes from the 1 per congressional district model that they have currently. They in the state of Maine are the only 2 states that do that, to a winner take all like all the other states have. Maine has missed their legislative deadline to do that on their behalf, which that state is controlled by Democrats, so that's a good thing. Nebraska may yet do it, so that's something to keep your eye on.
That is interesting. So states have that ability to make those changes to how their electoral votes are cast?
Correct. So, it's strictly a legislative function. So the legislature in each state decides how to allot their electoral votes. And, 48 out of 50 states have, pretty much forever decided, well, we're going to do this at large.
Yeah.
There's nothing that stops any state from doing this on a congressional district basis. So what they do is they award 2 at large and then 1 by congressional district. But these states are, I think, both Maine and Nebraska each have 5 electoral votes.
Yeah. Talk with us for a minute about how electors are chosen.
So, it's done pretty much the same in most every state. You have the political party committees in each state will choose what they call electoral nominees. So, for instance, here in South Carolina, our state executive committee 2 weeks ago, we had a meeting, and among ourselves, we choose 9 people because South Carolina has 9 electoral votes. So we chose 2 at large. I'm one of the 2 at large. And then we chose 1 per each of our 7 congressional districts. And then we submit those names to the Secretary of State's office. They certify those, which they've done. Democrat Party did the same thing. You have a few of the other, statewide, third parties, if you will. I think, let's see, you have the potentially Libertarian, you have the Constitution Party occasionally. Sometimes you have the Green Party in various states and so forth. Jill Stein is representing the Green Party in a few states around the country. But the parties submit those names to the relevant authority in those states. And then whenever you're going to the polls and you vote, technically speaking, legally speaking, you're not actually voting for that person for president. You're actually voting for that list of electors. And then those people will then meet in December and cast that state's electoral votes for president of the United States.
Based on the votes that are received in that state.
Correct.
Yes. Interesting.
So if Republicans win here in South Carolina, Donald Trump carries South Carolina, which I 100% expect that he will, the Secretary of State will issue a proclamation of election for our electoral votes. He will declare us to be elected as the electoral votes for South Carolina, so that then we go to the appropriate meeting and cast those votes in December.
Yep. South Carolina Republican Party Chairman Drew McKissick with us this morning. So CNN, in cooperation with the Harris campaign, I believe, issued an invitation to both candidates for another debate. They're proposing October 23rd in Atlanta with the same rules as the Trump-Biden debate in June. Harris says she's all in. President Trump says no. Does he change his mind? Does it make any sense for him to debate her again? Does it make him look afraid if he doesn't?
Well, let's just remember this. Donald Trump agreed to the Fox News debate, which was set for a specific date in October with a specific set of rules. And the Harris campaign never responded. So, we can ask the same question, obviously, about Kamala Harris and their campaign. If I were Donald Trump, I would stick with the Fox debate and see the Fox or nothing.
Yeah.
The Harris campaign is the one right now that wants another debate. You'll notice they, put out a press release yesterday, goading him about, hey, we're ready to participate in another debate. The American people deserve another debate. Why do they want another debate? You think about that. Look at the polls. The problem that they have is Harris, to a lot of people, particularly independent voters, is still an unknown quantity. And they're trying to better define her and fill in the blanks. They know they need to. They know some people still have a little bit of hesitation there from somebody that they essentially know nothing about. Trump, whether people like him or don't like him, is very much a known quantity. They need to get her out another high-profile event, and that's why, in my opinion, they're trying to push for this. And it's also why, if I were Donald Trump, I would just say it's Fox or nothing.
Yeah. Well, it's going to be interesting to see how this unfolds. Maybe is it too late that potentially Trump could say, okay, you agree to Fox, I'll agree to CNN, do 2 more?
I doubt very seriously that would happen. I think it's 1 or nothing, and if they're both dug into these positions, I think there's probably not another one. And Donald Trump is not totally off base here in saying, despite what the press would say, the Democrats would say, that hey, look, people are already voting in some states.
Right.
When you get to that point in October, people are voting in a lot of states, by the way.
Yeah.
We have so much early voting, not to mention mail-in voting, 30 or 45 days out in some states, 2 months. That's, quite frankly, it's really ridiculous that people would want to vote that far out and not know more about the candidates. But still, he's totally right about that.
Yep. Drew McKissick, always a pleasure. Appreciate your time today. We'll do it again next week.
Yes, sir. Have a good one now.
You too. Take care.
That's it for today's edition of Just the Truth. Thanks for joining me in the PhD Weight Loss and Nutrition Studio. To lose weight for the last time, visit myphdweightloss.com. If you haven't joined our mailing list yet, visit my website, joeyhudson.com. Just click on the Connect with Joey button so that you can receive our emails and the most up-to-date news. Also, find me on YouTube. Be sure and like, subscribe, follow me on my YouTube channel. Just search for Joey Hudson. Appreciate you spending a few minutes of your day with me. Be sure and forward this edition of Just the Truth to some friends. Just click on the share button. Send it to a few of your contacts, because if we're going to build our community and if we're going to win in November, we got to build an army of conservatives. The way we beat Joe Biden is through educating people, and no better way than encouraging them to listen to Just the Truth. Hey, keep those comments coming via the Furman Ford text line, 864-477-JOEY, 864-477-5639. Your emails always welcome as well. Joey@joeyhudson.com. Don't forget to take advantage of the MyPillow special, $25 for the My Towels 6-piece towel set when you use promo code Joey. Just go to mypillow.com. Always use promo code Joey. We're back again tomorrow. Hope you will be too. Remember, God's got this. He's still in control.